Thanks for staying with us. Now, you would have seen developments around this. The High Court in Bloemfontein interdicting Mangaung Mayor Papi Mokoena from performing his mayoral duties a week after his election. And this after the ANC applied for the interdict, arguing that Mokoena was elected in an illegal council meeting. That was a special council meeting. And of course, this is one of those stories that we've been watching, and that Mokoena joins us live now via Zoom. Thank you so much for your time, sir. And of course, a lot of people wondering, are you still mayor? Are you not? What's the status?
Good evening, Bongi, and good evening to the viewers. I am still executive mayor, Bongi. I'm just interdicted from executing the duties of executive mayor in terms of this.
What do you make of that interdict?
Look, Bongi, I think it's a very strange interdict. And just some bit of background. A council meeting was called, I think, around the 12th, which was last week, Wednesday. That meeting could not take place because it was interrupted by people that were saying they were not paid their salaries. And then the meeting was adjourned for Friday. And on the Thursday of the meeting, we were on a virtual platform with the National Cabinet Rep and the other intervention team. As you know, that Mangaung is under financial recovery intervention, assessing the issue relating to security at the meeting. And we were confirmed by the safety and the SAPS that everything would be fine on Friday, and the meeting as a result can continue. So we duly gathered on Friday for a 2 o'clock meeting. And that is the meeting that took place. But apparently this interdict relates to what is claimed by the party that has interdicted. That's the ANC. That the meeting was attended by councillors that they had interdicted, because I'm sure you would have been aware about expulsion of members and whatever that had been going on and off. But on Friday, when we were in the meeting, the speaker distributed a letter from the IEC that was copied to the MEC for Cocta in the Free State. That also included the ANC, was copied on that letter, to say the councillors that were allegedly suspended by their party, they still remain councillors.
So in your view, Ndati Mokoena, this meeting was legitimate?
It was legitimate, it was lawful, it was called according to standing orders, adequate notice was given. And if you even see the motion that was submitted by the ANC, they were aware of the meeting, but they allege in the documents that they boycotted the meeting.
So then where does, because now you can't perform your duties. So essentially, what does this then mean for you? Do you go to the office to just sit? What do you do?
Bongi, you are asking a very pertinent question, because on Monday we went to the office and the office of the mayor were locked. And I went to the company were locked under the instruction of what is called the National Cabinet Rep, who has decided overtly to put Mangaung under administration when Mangaung is under 1397. And Mangaung has got all its original powers, but she needs to be ratifying financial decisions. But she instructed the office of the mayor to lock the offices and not allow me in, because she was querying the validity of the meeting that had happened on Friday. My contention to her and the other people were that they have got no right to review an original power that council has exercised to elect amongst it a leader who is a political office bearer. But only now we realize that closure of the office And also, if you look at the prayer that the ANC had in terms of this interdict, they don't interdict the whip who was also elected. They, at this stage, are not dealing with the lawfulness of the meeting other than to allege that the people that they suspended were not supposed to be in that meeting. They want only the mayors not to exercise his duties. Now, the question is why? Why it becomes
And do you have the answer to that
about,
question?
Well, as they've said and admitted in the documents, one of the issues is about an appointment of staff.
All right.
But Bongi, you know that now, for instance, 15 months down the line after the elections of November, Mangaung has not appointed a city manager. Mangaung has not appointed heads of department. Mangaung has become more dysfunctional than when this intervention team came last year in April, because it looks like they are warming up to the seats and they don't want to leave. So one of the issues is that was on the agenda, Bongi, is that there were adverts that were run 3 times for the appointment of the city manager. But because there are people who have instructed people to appoint people who are not fit for purpose, who are not going to be can be helpful to Mangaung, they are fearful that we might appoint capable and a competent city manager.
So, Ntate Mokoena,
but they have...
apologies.
Yes,
please pardon me for coming in there. I'm told we're almost out of time, but please pardon me for coming in there. I can't let you go without delving into this issue as well. And I'm sure you've seen it in the reports. Have you resigned as a director of the Bloemfontein Correctional Contracts that's doing business with G4S?
I haven't resigned, Bongi.
Why haven't you?
Bongi, you recall that I was appointed as executive mayor on Friday.
Yes.
A councillor is entitled to run businesses, to be directors of companies, but must every year disclose. I did the right disclosures to the Mangaung Council when I became a councillor about my directorships in different companies. So there's nothing in law that prevents from being a director of any company.
So the mayoral handbook is quite clear that you can't undertake any paid work if you are a full-time councillor unless the council has expressly consented thereto. And I'm listening to the last part. So you're saying that council consented. You do have the written consent of council in this regard?
No, I'm saying, Bongi, if you take the sequence of events, I was elected as a mayor, which is a full-time paid job.
Yes.
Different from being a part-time councillor. As a part-time councillor, there are people that are lawyers, there are people that are professors that are taking paid work somewhere, who are serving also as public office bearers. It is only when you become a permanent employee, like in terms of that function, that then you either are given time to win yourself out of whatever other obligations that you have had, or council can grant you whatever permissions that it is for transitional mechanisms and things like that.
So
I was elected.
So pardon me. Are you then waiting to win yourself out of it, or what's going on? And the reason I ask you this is that if you look at the mayoral handbook, it also continues to say that mayors may not act in a way that is inconsistent with their office or expose them to any situation involving the risk of a conflict between their official responsibilities and private interests. Do you not think that maybe by continuing you may be exposing yourself?
Bongi, if I can ask you the question, that Bloemfontein Correctional Contracts has got one contract, which is a concession contract that they have won in 2000 for the building, the financing and the operation of Mangaung Correctional Center, of which G4S is the operating contractor. BCC is not the operating contractor. BCC is not involved in any other business of procurement or whatever. So the question as to whether there can be issues of conflict at this stage doesn't arise as far as BCC is concerned, because it's just one contract that is going to be terminated in 2026, according to the contract, and it doesn't tender for any other thing.
So you still paid for this work?
Bongi, I am not a permanent employee of BCC, so I don't get paid a salary by BCC.
All right. I think it was important to get that clarity for someone watching tonight who may have some of these questions to say, are you being paid? Are you not? So that at least they understand what's going on. Ndate Mokoena, I do understand we're out of time. So hopefully we speak again when the next installment happens, because we do not know when then do you begin to resume your duties, as you say, that, you know, offices were locked. And of course, that Mangaung Council, a lot of concern around service delivery there. And one wonders what is actually going to happen and, you know, looking into the future. But let me thank you for your time. Hope to speak to you again in the future. That is Mangaung Mayor Papi Mokoena, who was joining us, of course, on the latest developments. And of course, this is a story we'll continue to monitor for you and hopefully speak to him again, and even some of those other role players in this particular story.